everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Katsugi Minute. I'm January, I'm Drogonous, and I'm Jonah-Pierce, but you can call me JP. And today, we're just going to be talking about something that I feel not a lot of people know about us, and something that not a lot of people really care to know about us, but it's something that everyone, I believe personally, should know about us moving forward. And yeah, I believe it is something, it's just deeply important to me that people really know who I am. Well, people know who we are. We're going to be talking about our dissociative identity disorder today, and kind of the events that led up to that. The events that made us who we are today. So, child, I just have to preface this by giving this episode an overall trigger warning. We're going to be talking about some very hard topics such as eating disorders, narcissistic parents, emotional and physical warfare, and abuse. Just a lot. I just want to brace everybody. You can click away at any time if you feel that any of the topics that we're talking about are too much or that you can't handle them. We completely fucking understand. It's a lot for us too. That's why we try not to talk about it that much. But we feel that this can open the doors for so many more important topics. This can open the doors for so many more important things, so many more acceptance stories. Because I know a lot of people don't really understand what dissociative identity disorder is. Dissociative identity disorder and or multiple personality disorder formerly is when the brain from a very young age has a trauma inflicted on it so visceral and so heavy that the child's brain cannot properly process everything that comes with that. So it splits off into certain personalities. We call them alters, but that's the gist of the dissociative identity disorder. And I know a lot of people are asking why it's important for this episode of this wonderful podcast, the journey that we're going on. And basically, to answer that, I'm going to say we have to do the terrible shit first before we can get to the fun shit. We have to do this first so everyone get to know us as people before we start talking about things just candidly. Yes, what Drogonous said. So, who wants to start? Because I guess I'll start since I am host of the system. And yes, basically, host of the system is, the person who carries out task as like they're the person you come in contact with first when you meet us. It's, hi, I'm January. We don't really introduce ourselves as the Katsugi system because I personally feel like that's not really the best way to go about introducing ourselves as who we are. But I'm sorry, I get really anxious while talking about this. It's not something that I really try my best to talk about because a lot of this stuff to this day really does still affect me. A lot of this stuff is still going on today. And a lot of this stuff is still something that's very taboo in several communities, especially the Black and LGBTQ plus communities. And yeah, it's just a lot that goes into our story as the Katsugi system, and not just us three, me, Drogonous, and JP as the Katsugi Brothers, because there are more than just us in this system. There's people that some people don't even know about. There is alters that just don't come out, period. There are alters that are buried so deep in the mind that even we have to go on a journey in our mind just to get to them. It's a lot. And recently, I've gotten the full story for the first time ever. So I am ready to talk about it, finally, in a nuanced manner. Yeah. Ooh. So the first thing I'm going to start with, well, we have to start where you and Katrina were growing up. Yes, Katrina, love her. Ooh, child. So basically, Katrina is our former host. We'll get into why I say former host later, but we had a very checkered past together. And basically, I don't know most of her story. I don't have access to that, but I know the parts I were involved in, so I'll go off of that. I think we were growing up in a very middle class home in a very beautiful suburban neighborhood. And Katrina was growing up as our former identity. I'm not going to say his name because we don't really need that information. But we're going to call him Pi. Or, yeah, Pi. So Pi, growing up, was a very sensitive child. Of course, he had autism. And autism is something that is more than media likes to portray it as. Autism comes in many shapes, sizes, and molds, as you can say. So, Pi, growing up, had to navigate not only being Black, but he had to navigate having autism. And this was all before his sexuality. He didn't even know what his sexuality was. But I think having your sexuality thrown at you before you were even old enough to process it, like, people all the time were like, oh, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay, before he even knew what it meant. Before any of us really knew what it meant. And I don't think Pi could handle that very well. His brain could not handle that very well. I don't know what happened to him for our first altar to come out, the first ever altar, Miss Wanderlyn Marie Alonso. We call her Wander. She was the first iteration of me. I like to say that. She was very studious, very on top of her actions, on top of everything. She had things together. Adjacent. I say adjacent for a reason. She had things together enough on the outside to where people were like, oh, they're not struggling. Nothing's going on with him. She made us look so nice and presentable to where people kind of dismissed a lot of the things that were going on with us. And this was elementary school for Pi. This was elementary school for him. And I personally was there for a lot of stuff. So I can take this next part. Yeah. Pi got bullied aggressively at school. But not just at school. Also, Pi got bullied everywhere he went. He didn't know by who, and he didn't know where it was coming from at the time because certain people were hiding it from him for his protection, of course. But he didn't see that at the time. He didn't see that people were trying to protect him. He didn't see or care about that at the time. So he was being bullied everywhere. And I mean fucking everywhere. So not only was he being bullied at home unintentionally by family, well, the siblings, I think very intentionally by the parents. I think it was very intentional on their part. Quote me, I don't care. So not only was he getting bullied at home, but then he was getting bullied at school by teachers, staff, faculty, and students. Everyone was ganging up on him. It was bad. And of course he was defending himself. He was defending himself. And he, like, would ignore it. Because, you know, Wander was like, oh, you need to ignore this. You need to, you know, bibbidi bobbidi boo. You can't stoop down to their level. Bip bop bam. You know, what people tell you, what adults like to say when you do when you're going through it. Take the high road. Tee-hee. Fuck the high road. And I'll tell you why. Because he would take the high road and people would construe his high road as, oh, he's a bitch. Let's pick on him more. Yeah, it was real bad sometimes. Because it was just like, I was told by Katrina that it was real bad. It was real bad. Yeah, I don't have the words to kind of explain how he was perceived by people and how that being perceived as different. Yes, he was always perceived as abnormal, different, and you know, this was like the early 2000s, so differences weren't really nurtured as they are now. So you can imagine the things he went through. Mind you, going to an all-black, mostly black elementary school. And then a mostly Hispanic middle school and high school. 6 through 12. Woo. Yeah, that was fucking hell. Oh my god. I still, to this day, fucking hate that place. I'm sorry. I can't. I would like to say it was pretty humbling. It was a very humbling experience being at that school. I'm not going to name the school. I don't really care for it anymore. I go there to visit people, this, that, and the third, but I don't really like to dwell on them too much because, but that school is very important to this because that is where I come in. That is where I start, you know, coming in. And, okay, Drogo, you go, because I don't have all the details here. Okay, so, basically, January, or Phi, not January, Phi, enters the 6th grade. Everything's going well, everything's swell, we're doing okay. This is a fresh start for us. Like, this is a completely new school with completely new people. This is a fresh fucking start for us, mind you. So Phi goes in. Now it's Wander, Leonora, Cunningham III, or just Leah, and then Charlie Duncan. Yeah, you can imagine where our brain got that from. But yeah, it was the 3 of them. So Leah was positive thinking. That was her role. You know, keep January on track. Give January some... Fuck, I keep saying Jan. Phi. Give Phi some self-love. Give him some... You know, some healing. Giving him strength. There you go, Jonah-Pierce. Work. Giving him strength. And Charlie, her role was bodyguard. She was fighting everyone off. She was the bitch of the system. Like, don't mess with her. And then there was Wander. Wander was organization, academics. She had all the dreams of going to college and everything. And then there's Willow Me, Drogonous. But before I was Drogonous, I was January. So it was little January, little me. I'm sitting here. I don't know what the fuck to do because I'm a child. I'm itty weedy whittle, right? So I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just sitting here. And I'm watching everything go down. So I'm going to abridge this by a lot. 6th through 8th grade, awful, terrible. Phi, he was just so down on himself. And of course he was being bullied. Of course he was being bullied at the new school too. He just couldn't get away from it. He didn't know what the fuck was wrong with him. He didn't even know what gay was. He was still being called this word that he had no idea what it was. So you can imagine how that turned out for him. And so now his brain is splitting even more because he was getting beat up at school by students. He was getting told things by teachers. He was getting sent to the office and being told things by other people. So, of course, all of this is just more trauma. More. Brain could not handle it. So, that's when JP comes. That's when JP is like manifested. That's what we like to say. We like to say manifested. Brought into life. Yeah. Me. Me. So, of course, Jonah-Pierce was not Jonah-Pierce at the time. An incarnation of Jonah-Pierce called Jagger McClyde. He was the masculinity of the system. Holding it, carrying it on his back, girl. That man was so suave, so smooth, and so... He was so pretty, too. He was very pretty. And he didn't really care for anything. He was a bad boy. He didn't give a fuck. We were always in trouble with him. Wander would get on him so much. She's all like, Jagger. And I remember it perfectly. Jagger, you can't do that. Oh my God. It was... I remember that, too. Yeah. Some of my fondest memories was hearing Jagger and Wander argue in their mindscape. In their shared mindscape, because obviously we didn't really have... the Central Command is basically where we all go when we're not fronting. That's the mind. Central Command is like the forefront of the mind. And then the mind palace is like... It's like a town. Everyone, like, goes to their mindscape. Mindscape is like a neighborhood. The Mind Palace is a neighborhood-looking thing. And the mindscape is literally a house. That's our mindscapes. Literally houses that we just go into and we forget about life. So when we're called, we go to Central Command. Like, we go there, and it's like a instant warp type of thing. It's dumb, I know. But... they were always fighting. And Jagger one day decided, I had enough. I'm done. Charlie and Jagger both decided together, I'm fucking done. I don't want to do this shit anymore. So, of course, we're entering January's freshman year of high school. Pi had also decided that he had had enough. He's like, I can't do this shit anymore. I'm done. And January can tell this part because they were there for it. Yes, I was there for this. Very fucking traumatic. So Pi's 15th birthday. I remember it vividly. We were in the house by ourselves. Everyone had left. Everyone was either at work or, just out on the town. And we were there. And we were just sitting there, lonely as hell. And Pi just says, I'm done. And I don't know what to do because none of the other altars are there. No one else is there. It's Willow and me. Again, I'm a child. I don't know how to I don't know what this even is. I don't know what emotions he's feeling. I'm so unaware of everything. And I'm like, okay. So now we're calling people. I'm calling people because I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm calling all of our friends. No one's answering. I'm on the phone. No one is answering. This is our birthday, by the way. So it made him feel even worse. And that was like the final nail in the coffin. And so he goes on the balcony of our minds, of Central Command. And there's this ball pit. There's this endless ball pit. And it, like, endless, as in quotes, because you'll find out later that it leads to another side. It leads to a parallel mind palace, basically. We call it the mirror dimension. But that's for later. This sounds real weird. I know. I understand this sounds weird. It sounds very fucking weird to, like, viewers who don't understand. But, like, it's a lot. But, yeah. Sorry. Oh, you're good, JP. You're fine. So basically, I'm running after him because I'm small. Like, his walk is my run, right? So I'm, like, running, waddling to him, and I'm like, oh my god, please don't. I'm talking him off of the ledge now. I'm like, hi, please don't. Please don't. I don't know what to do. I can't do this for you. I don't know what's going on. And I was in tears, and it was just like, he was replaying everything that had ever happened to him. All of the bullying. Like, he was replaying getting jumped on the way home in elementary school. From the bus stop, he was replaying getting put in a duffel bag by our psychotic neighbor when he was in 8th grade. He was replaying being berated by our parents. He was replaying everything that had ever happened in the... As I'm talking, I'm like, Pi, please, 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 no. He jumps. As I'm talking, he jumps. And that is the end of him. Pi is gone. I'm in tears. Screaming. Calling out for anybody. And I remember the first person that helped me was Drogo. Yeah. I just see this little child on the ground shaking. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I look over the ledge and I see it. Pi's body is just there. Lifeless. Of course, his soul went into the mirror dimension. Like, his mind and soul went into the mirror dimension. But his body was just there. And I was like, fuck. And this was like January's first trauma. And it just got worse from there. Because now I have to take care of this little fucking child. All of the other altars are gone, by the way. Like, Wander, Jagger, Leah, Charlie, gone. Like, they're in their mindscapes. They're asleep. So I'm just here. At this point, I'm a teenager. I don't know what to fucking do. I'm a teenager. What the fuck am I gonna do? So So, of course, I start soothing the child. Mind you, this child doesn't have a name yet. Yeah, I'm nameless at this point. I don't have a name still at this point. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on? So now I'm focused on that shit. And then I hear shuffling noises as I'm taking care of this child that is just here. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in there? It was Central Command. I go in there. Jonah-Pierce is just there. Just standing there. Because, duh. Obviously. Yeah. I'm just... mind you, I was eating. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Drogo's looking at me like, bitch, read the room. I'm like, I don't know. What room is there to read? And then little baby January comes up and I'm just like, shit. What do we do? Because mind you, JP is also a teenager at this point. JP's like in his preteens at this point. Because mind you, I'm 30. At this time, I was like 25? 26 at this time? And then JP was a wee bit younger, because he's 23 now. So he was like a wee bit younger. I don't know exactly what his age was. Probably like 14, 15. Okay. Somewhere around that, yeah. And then January is just there. January is literally like an 8-year-old. No, I was 6. I remember it. I was 6. January is a literal 6-year-old. So now, with host gone, dead, over, of course Central Command is searching for a new host. Someone who is capable of juggling everything and keeping everything together. So... Oh, I remember this. I don't either. I remember it. So basically, this is going on. We sleep on it. The two of them are out like lights. None of us have mindscapes yet. So I go looking for all the other altars, and none of them are here. None of them are there. It's eerie. Like, their houses are gone. Even their houses are gone. It was just an empty neighborhood. Empty mind palace. Really? What the fuck? It was empty. So I'm like, this is not right. So I go back to Central Command to wake y'all up, and y'all are nowhere to be found. Okay. No one is there. So now, Central Command, again, is looking for a host of the system. Central Command is like, all right, well, he's gone. On to the next, right? So we enter, and like Central Command is lighting up, and like the whole room is like entrenched in like these pulsating lights and everything. And I just remember sitting there. January was propelled forward. And it was like a light. It was like a laser. And it was like, it was drawing on your... It was like giving us roles. It was giving us roles. So, of course, January gets chosen as host. This little child gets chosen as host of this 15-year-old person. Right. And I'm just like, okay. So, come to find out, me and Drogonous were fusions of the other alters the entire time. Like Wander, Charlie, Jagger, Leah fused to make us. So Wander and Charlie fused to make Drogue and or Old January. And then Jagger and Charlie made me. So, no. Yeah. And then January was just there. Really? Okay, that makes sense. But honestly, I think it's the other way around. I think you, JP, were a fusion of Leah and Jagger, and I was a fusion of Wander and Charlie. Okay, that does make sense. So, yeah, back to the story. Sidebar over. So basically, we're being given our roles, and I'm the only one awake for this because I'm nocturnal. Like, they were knocked the fuck out. And so I get the role of rational thinking and relaxation. I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm a 14-year-old. I don't know. I'm rounding for the sake of logistics. I'm rounding. Yeah, I'm just supposed to do this for the rest of my life. Drogo gets assigned the role of bodyguard, protector of the system. Yeah. And January is host. And the host is always the emotional center of the system. The host is supposed to be the emotional center of the system. It's just implied. So now this child, this 9-year-old child is living in the body of a 15-year-old boy full time, knowing nothing about society and nothing about who they are as a person. So now we start freshman year of high school. And I don't know who I am. But I'm supposed to get up and put on this uniform and go to school. And then I go to school. And everyone assumes that I'm Pi. So, of course, me not knowing any better, I decide, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I just follow the rules. I'm following the script that Central Command is giving me. Go to class, do your homework, do some chores around the house. Bibbidi bobbidi boo, girl. Sorry, I turned into Drogo for a minute. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, work, I guess. And so now I have this teacher. I'm not going to name him, just know he teaches history, social studies, right? And I sense right away that this man does not like me. I don't know why, I just have a feeling. This man does not like me. I don't know what this feeling is. We'll touch on that later. I'm just like, okay. So I try my best to be the best student I can be. But he's making snide remarks. Left, right, up, down, and fucking center. Making snide remarks at January. And of course, me being protector of the system wasn't fucking having it. So of course, I'm fronting now. No one knows this. I just snap in place. And I remember I cussed his ass the fuck out right there. I was like, I understand you're the teacher, bitch, but you're not going to talk to me any kind of fucking way. You are an adult. I'm a child. You're not going to talk to me that way. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Type B and shit. So now we're in the fucking class and I'm sitting there and I'm mad. I'm heated. Yada, 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 boom, boom, ka, ka. Before it even existed, I'm heated. So he's teaching. This is where I was wrong. I was really fucking... This is where I was wrong. Okay, I was making snot remarks at him. I own this. Because you disrespected me now. So now I have to disrespect you back. I have to match your energy. So now he gets real mad. And he's, da-da-da-da-da, you can get out of my classroom, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. And I'm like, okay. Calls him by his first name. I remember this shit, bro. I remember this shit so well. I called his ass by his first name. I'm gonna make a fake name. I'm like, okay, Joe, what would you like to fucking do? I was like, okay, Joe. And I dismissed his ass because you're not gonna talk to me any kind of fucking way. This is like the first time I ever had to do my job. Like, so I'm like, okay, this is what the fuck we're dealing with. Because I was there for January. Excuse me. I was there for Pi getting bullied by everyone. And Charlie was doing the best she could to help and be the protector of the system. So I learned from Charlie. I learned from her. I learned from the best. You're not finna... You want to meet me the fuck outside? That's what was going on in my head, right? He's like, you want to meet me the fuck outside, bitch? So basically, I walk. Now he's like, get the fuck out. Get out, get out, get out. Go to the office. I'm writing you up. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. And I'm like, okay, bitch, write me up. Write me up. What the fuck is that gonna do to me? Write me up. So he writes me up, and I'm watching him do the little slip. Excuse me. And he gives it to me, and I read it, and I'm like, this didn't happen. This didn't happen this way. He was embellishing the truth to try to get Jan in trouble. Again, January has no name at the time. He was trying to get us in trouble. I said, okay. I go to the office, the main office. Me and that main office were friends, girl. We love that place. And they love me there too. Water break, sorry. And, you know, we were given a warning and we were sent back to class. But this is when we had like our first formal run-in with the school's special ed coordinator, Miss Smith. Oh, I love Miss Smith. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love her down. Oh my God. She saved my life. She was a part of like really saving our lives. She was. So we're in the little room and Miss Smith is like, what's going on? Because Miss Smith had worked with Pi for a hot minute. And she was like special education coordinator because, again, we have autism. So we get special ed, her. So she was like, okay, well, he was wrong for that. And I felt so validated. We were validated in that moment. He was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, he was wrong for that shit. He was dead fucking wrong for that shit, and I knew it. But she also said, you were wrong for how you reacted to it. And then I was like, okay, I understand that. So we took the write-up, went back to class. The day went smoothly after that. I had choir at the time. Jonah-Pierce was in choir at the time. So we were all there with him, and I just remember the boys in specification. I'm going to make up another fake name. Let's call him Alan. Let's call him Alan, shall we? Yes. So I remember Alan was just saying the most vile things about me. And I was getting viscerally hurt. And so Drogo had to step in again. So I'm like, okay, bitch, what about you? And our choir director, oh, poor woman. She's all like, oh my God, everyone calm down. Let's get back to the lesson. Let's focus. And he is just going off on this guy. I don't remember what I said, but it was pretty bad because the whole class was like, ooh. And you know it's bad when the whole class is like, ooh. Girl, I read his ass. I tore his ass a fucking new one with my words and what I was saying to him. Because you're not going to do that, bitch. You're not going to do that. So basically, I was like, okay, back off. You're good. He understands. He knows. And so I was like, after all of that, calm down. We finished the class and everything. And our choir director pulls me aside. The choir director. And she says the same thing Miss Smith said, but in a different way. She said, you were wrong about how you reacted. So I was learning very, very quickly that I had to hold myself. I had to carry myself differently than the other kids my age. I learned that very quickly. I had to grow up, basically. Yeah, I had to grow up. I learned right then and there, and I started trying my best, to keep him from going off, and it was futile. Like, we were not on the same page as a system. It was like, something happens, January enters class, someone says something, like, negative or bad, and then Drogo just snaps the front and just annihilates everyone in sight, even the adults. And that's how it was for about 6 months. And then we had our first meeting as the new system, and we were like, we can't keep doing this. We cannot keep doing this. And so at that point, we went to go see our counselor for the first time, Miss Amy. So she was very integral to my character now and who I am now. So I went to see her for the first time, and I'm going to skip a lot of that part because it's not really important. But now we get to the trauma. January's second trauma. Yes. At this time, we were all deciding that we didn't like the names we were given, and I still had no name. So we had to come up with names for ourselves. So, of course, I was watching Game of Thrones at the time, bitch, and I was like, I want to be a dragon. I'm a dragon. So, of course, that's where the name Drogonous comes from. Dragon, Drogonous. It just makes sense. It speaks to who I am as a person. And my name, I didn't care, actually. I just looked at two things and was like, Jonah-Pierce. Jonah-Pierce. And it was just like, yeah, that's who I am. I'm Jonah-Pierce. Yeah. It just felt right. And then I gave my old name to New January. So we all have our names now at this point. I'm January, formally, full time. This is who I am now. And the name really suits me. I still think that name suits me to this day. And I'm very happy that I am allowed to carry on the legacy that Drogo and JP and all of the other altars set in place for us. Yeah. So basically, that's when we got our name. Because we went home and we really said, we really need to sit down and like talk about this. We really need to think about the things that we're doing to people and the things that people are doing to us. We need to be cognizant. And so we really sat down and said, well, not said, we had a meeting, like our first system meeting as like the new system. And of course, we all were just like not having it. Drogonous was like, no, I'm going to do what I have to do no matter what. Period. And I'm still going to do what I have to do no matter what. Yeah. And JP was like, okay, we need to make actual decisions. So, of course, JP had to teach me how to make decisions. Because I didn't know how to make decisions. I'm still a child. I didn't know how to make like big decisions, big life decisions. So JP, being rational thinking and relaxation, literally said, well, you can say it. I was like, hey, Jan, we really can't decide who you're going to be. That is your decision. And I explained what a decision is. I was like, a decision is something you do when you are between a rock and a hard place. And you have to say, I'm going to do this. And you have to stick by it. If you say, I'm going to do this, you have to stick by it. You can't flip-flop. You have to stick by it. And so I pointed to the screen, which is the eyes of the body. And I was like, who do you want to be? Who are you? And silent. Because I didn't know. It was silent because I didn't know who I was. And I was being asked, and I didn't have an answer. And so, of course, I started crying. I'm crying in this office with this wonderful woman, and she's just so receptive, and she's actually listening. And I didn't explain to her at first what it was because I didn't even know. None of us knew what we were. None of us knew what DID was. So, of course, a lot more visits with Miss Amy. Mostly because Drogonous was doing his job. Very poorly, might I add, but I was doing my job. Drogonous was, you're not gonna talk to me that way. And he was going the fuck off on everyone. Anyone, everyone, anything, everything. So we were in that woman's office so much. She just wrote us a pass. And she was like, you show this to your teacher when you feel like you need to. You can just come here and we'll talk. So I did. I was like, hey, y'all. I gotta go. And so we were just like talking, and I was having really nice conversations with everybody. And I made so many friends in that office. Some of the people I still know to this day. Love them down. But she was teaching me things like anxiety control. Because I had anxiety and I didn't even know I had anxiety. I was like, okay. She taught me what anxiety was, and I was like, I relate to that so heavily. Because obviously, you have the anxiety of making all of these fucking life decisions for this life form. Exactly. As a 8-year-old child, I'm making all of these big, grown decisions for this life form. So I'm just like, okay. And so she explains to me what anxiety is in a very beautiful way. And she teaches me how to monitor my breathing for the first time ever. Yes, queen. So I took that shit to heart. I took it to heart because I was like, I can't be like this for the rest of my life. I can't be like this for the rest of my life. And, oh, excuse me. Sorry. And it was like, it was life-changing for me, that advice. I carried that advice with me everywhere. Anytime I felt like tension, I would just breathe. Breathe. And it would calm not just me down, it would calm the entire system. Oh, yeah. It would calm all of us. So I started doing it. And I was like, I like how this feels. I like how being calm feels. So everything just shifted into perspective very quickly for me. I have to grow up. I am not a child anymore. This is not how children are supposed to be. And obviously, we're not even going to talk about, like, my race. We're going to leave race out of it, because that's not what this is about. We'll get into that later. But basically, it was just life-changing for me. Because I started growing up right then and there. I started doing my best to, like, keep Drogonous in control, and JP and his failing mental health, because so much of the trauma that happened with the other alters stuck with JP. Yeah, most of their trauma stuck with me. And then, of course, I had trauma of my own, because I was fronting some of those days too, getting bullied for, the system as well. And it was just like, I was just there most of the time. I still feel like that today. I'm just here. No, you do a lot for us. No, dead ass. You do so much for the system. You're never just there. Well, thank y'all. I appreciate that a lot. I don't hear that very often. Oh, okay. We have to rectify that then. For sure. Thanks. But it was just, God. It was awful. Highly depressed, highly suicidal, all of it. Now, we're gonna take a break, because I need a break. I know y'all need a break after listening to all of that, so we're going to go into a lovely little break session for a minute. I'm gonna go get some water, we're gonna go do some things, and we'll be back in a few. All right? Love it. Alrighty, and we're back. How was that break for y'all? That break for me was pretty nice. I think January could sense that we were all getting a little frazzled. No, for real. Jan said, okay, we're cutting this shit out right here. Okay, we're done for the moment. Let's go. No, seriously. That's my job as the emotional center of the system. Because sometimes they don't know when they're feeling certain emotions until it gets to that capsization point. So I have to be like, hey, you're feeling intense emotion a little too much, girly. Tee. So I have to do that. But where were we? We were at the part where you started seeing Miss Amy, but we're actually going to skip a couple chapters for the sake of time. We want to keep this relatively short. So this next part, we are going to have Jonah-Pierce talk about, because he can talk about this better than me in January can. Because if I talk about it, I'll get fucking angry. And if I talk about it, I will cry. So, JP, you take the floor. Yeah. All right, I'll do it. So, in the 8th grade, we're going to do a little flashback. Just imagine, okay? We make this friend. We're going to substitute names. We're going to call him Andy. Andy. Okay, yeah, we'll call him Andy. So we made friends with Andy. He was a pretty charismatic kid. Like, he had a lot of friends. Former identity was feeling a little lonely. So they made this friend. Andy, shit fucking person, bro. Shit fucking person, dude. So I didn't know this, of course. So now Andy becomes my friend. Like Andy and his group of friends, we're gonna name them Jaime and John? Jaime and John. There we go. Jaime, John, and Andy became my friends because, Pi had those friends. So when So basically, we started being friends with that group. And then January started making some friends of their own. There was this one person we're going to call Silas. Silas, pretty chill dude, still friends with him to this day. If he's listening to this, I love him to death. I want him to know that. Silas, and then the girl of the group, her name, we're going to call her Cindy. We're going to call her Cindy. It was just on my mind. Cindy. So it was the system, Andy, Jaime, Silas, Cindy. Okay. This was the group at the time. And then another girl, her name, we'll call her Stacy. Stacy. That we were the group. We were in our heads at the time, we were that friend group. Period. You couldn't tell us shit. But thing about that is friends in high school don't last, right? Friends in high school are, if you don't make them, I'm gonna give y'all a free high school tip for those entering. Make your friends at the end of your tenure. Make your friends junior, senior year. Those are the people who are going to be in your life if they care about you. Junior, senior year that's the year you make your long-term friends. And then you get in college and make your forever friends. Your forever in your life friends. So, like I said, that we gonna hold on to that. We're gonna sidebar. That tip means something. So, 10th grade, we all decide to get together in this group, right? And we are in the shit. We being friends with each other. Like, we talking about our problems and stuff. We talking about it, and we working through shit. But Andy just could not let go of something that Pi told him in the 8th grade. He couldn't let go of it. So Pi was ashamed of whatever the fuck it was that we were going through. We didn't know it was the ID. So Andy, unfortunately, was the first person that Pi opened up to about the DID and everything. So Pi, of course, it's like spilling his heart out, and then Andy says something that was like really bad and really like condescending. So Pi retracts his statement. He's all like, "Oh yeah, no, it's fake." Da 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 da, trying to save face, mind you, middle schooler, trying to save face. He didn't want to be ridiculed any more than he already was being. He did it for protection. But Andy, no, not in Andy's mind. Andy had the narrative in his mind that Pi was a liar. That Pi was faking the DID for attention, quite frankly. And so, of course, Pi is dead now. We don't know this. We don't know this information. I took that shit to the grave with him, bitch. He took that shit to the fucking grave. So we are lost as fuck. Right. So one day, January starts actually enforcing the identity change. January is like, hey guys, I'm January now. I would like for you to call me that. That's what I go by now. Oh, I like your impression of me. Thank you. Thank you. I work on it a lot. So, January, this is where the trauma starts. This is like the big thing. This is junior year. Well, actually, this is end of sophomore year into summer of sophomore year. So, January is like, I want to go by this now, da 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 da. So, Cindy, you know, being the sweet girl that she is, not knowing any better, I don't judge her for this, says, I think you're trying to run away from your past by this, by saying and doing this. And it shatters Jan. Because that's January's friend. That's January's closest fucking friend at this point. So January is already shattered. So Drogonous' alarm bells go up. Oh, you already know I'm ready. And Andy, because we were talking about the DID, because we had just found Socia did, who is a wonderful YouTuber that everyone should go watch to get started with their DID research. She shouldn't be the basis of it, though. We'll get into that on another episode of this sometime in the future. But basically, Andy says, I'm not going to call you that because you are not a respectful person. Bitch, when I tell you I lost my fucking shit. Oh, I lost my shit. Oh, oh, bitch. I don't even remember what I said to him when he said that. But it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? So, of course, now January is even more shattered because these are their friends. Silas, being the cool-ass dude that he is like, Andy, don't say that, Andy. Like, defending Jan. Andy, you're a bitch for that. Da-da-da-da. This is why me and Silas are cool. Like, Silas was the first bitch. Because Silas is... So, we were all, like, stunned. And of course, you know me, I'm fronting now. I'm like, okay, bitch, whatever. Da-da-da-da. We get in a screaming match. Andy and I get in a fucking heated screaming match. Because you're not going to disrespect January like that. That is disrespectful. You're not going to fucking do that. Okay? I fucking hang up on him. Woo-woo. We're done. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to disrespect us like that, period. Because now you're disrespecting me too. Because January's name was my name. So now you're disrespecting not only Jan, but you're disrespecting me too. And I don't do that. I don't play that shit. I do not tolerate people disrespecting me. Period. So we hang up. Woo-woo. Once again. They try to call us back. January's wonderful ringtone goes off. Puppy monkey baby. I'm sorry. It's Drogonous, like, recreating the sound effects of the moment. No, for real. I was like, okay, girl. Yeah, we gotta get into the story. We gotta tell the story. So basically, I get in the fucking call or whatever, And I was like, bitch, you're not gonna fucking do that. Da 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 da. Fuck you. Ba 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 ba. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. And everything else. And basically was like, I cussed his ass out the second time he called. He left that shit alone after that. I know that. So basically, I'm just sitting there like, because January is a wreck. Oh yeah, I was shattered. I was in tears crying because these are my closest friends. These are my closest friends at this point in time. So I'm shattered because I don't know what to do. Like, what was I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Was I supposed to just take that from them? Was I supposed to fight back? Was I supposed to, say, hey? So obviously, we went to the counselor's office. Counselor was on our side, excusez-moi, after understanding the nuance of the story and what happened, because I told her the story from my side, they told the story from their side. Okay, work. So now Andy goes on this tirade about how I'm just not a good person and how I disrespect people and how I do this, how I do that. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I was a good person either. So, of course, I agree. In my head, I believe that shit. Which is what the fuck we're not gonna do. So then I step in, and I'm like, Andy, shut the fuck up. In front of the counselor and everything. Shut the fuck up, Andy. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you dumb bitch. You dumb fucking son of a bitch. You do not know what you're talking about. Shut up. And the counselor looks at us, and she just sits back. And I was like, period. So now everyone is in contention. But we're all still friends. Yeah, we were all still friends. In quotations, of course, because duh. And everything kind of smoothed itself over. And then we were fine for a couple of weeks. And then Andy gets a girlfriend. Oh no! Ugh! Oh, can we not talk about this bitch? We have to, Drogo, I'm sorry. Ugh. God. Okay. Andy gets a girlfriend. We're gonna call her Elise. Andy and Elise, at first they were really good. Like, we welcomed Elise in the friend group. We were like, hey girl, like, yeah, you're dating our dude. Like, okay. Elise had her history with Pi. So Drogo already on the defense. Oh yeah, I was already on the defense. I don't like the bitch. Period. And this is like, we were all just together hanging out and shit. The situation kind of, died down, but January was still enforcing their name. January said, please don't detonate me. Please don't detonate me. Andy continues to do it. Which makes Cindy also do it. Silas is like, okay, because Silas understands. Silas being a part of the community, he understood. He was like, okay, well, this is who you are now, which I appreciate. And January was getting visibly hurt by it. Like, hurt. Yeah, I was, because now you're invalidating my existence. That part. So, at this point, Elise enters the friend group, and she just starts nagging. And she starts asking me to do things that I'm not very comfortable with. Nothing like sexual or anything. She just starts asking me to do morally questionable things that January, personally, I'm not comfortable with. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm good. Because I was starting to figure out my character. This is when I was starting to like find who I am and figure out my character and what I, bring to the system and everything. So I always, every time Elise asks me to do something, I say no. I say no. Because, I don't know. So now Andy finds out that he can't manipulate me. Period. Andy finds out that he can't do things to me to get the reaction he wants. So now he starts going for the jugular. He starts attacking my appearance. He starts attacking my fashion, which I was very entrenched in at the time. It was like the holdup of my mental health. Like my fashion reflected my mental health and how I was feeling. So he was attacking my one way of actually feeling emotion and showing emotion. And so Drogonous started getting angry. And again, we would all have these like little group FaceTime sessions. This is when they first introduced the feature of group FaceTimes. Right. So we all had our first little group FaceTime session. But it was real bad. Because we had this platform, because this was during the pandemic, right? So we had this platform called Microsoft Teams. I don't know if y'all are familiar. You probably are. Not gonna lie. Yeah, true. Microsoft Teams came out, and we were just, like, using that shit. Like, we were in 24-hour-long Teams calls. We went to sleep on the phone with each other. That is how good of friends I perceived us to be. We all perceived each other to be really good fucking friends. But one night, I get a call from Elise. Ugh. This bitch. I get a call from Elise. And I pick it up, not really thinking too much about it. Because I'm like, okay, she's a friend. Period. You got me doing the sound effects now. Period. As you should. But back to the story. I pick up the phone and I'm like, I'm like, hey girl, what's up? Like, what's going on? How are you? And she's all like, oh my God, like, I think me and Andy are breaking up. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. And then a bridge version of that. And so I'm like, okay, what did he do? What did you do? What's wrong? And she goes into this tirade of, he's so controlling and he's, oh my God, he doesn't like when I wear certain things and he gets really mad when I like do certain things to my hair. Because she was one of those girls who aggressively dyed her hair. Like every 3 business days, she would come in with a new fucking hair color. Drogo! Every 3 fucking business days. No judgment, but bitch, make up your mind. Okay? Sidebar over. Yes. So I was like, okay, what's going on? So this is when I call Andy. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with you and Elise? This is the type of friend I am. I don't like seeing people hurt. So I'm going to do what I have to do to fix the problem. Andy has a whole different fucking story. Oh, she's going out and this and that, and like, I'm just like trying to protect her and da-da-da-da-da. He has a whole different fucking story. Now I'm like, which one of you bitches are lying? I'm sorry, I don't like cursing very much, but when I do, yeah. Which one of y'all are lying? That part. So now, somehow, for some reason, we are in a therapy, in quotes, therapy FaceTime group chat. Everyone is on the fucking call. Me, well, us, Andy, Elise, Cindy, Silas, John. Oh yeah, John was there too. For some fucking reason. John was not in the core friend group. He was just someone who hung out with Andy. So we all were like, okay. He was an acquaintance, merely. At least to me. So John is in the call too, and I'm like, so I asked the question first. What's going on? And Elise gives her, oh my god, he's so controlling. And then Andy, oh my god, no, you're doing do. And I was just like, okay, no. I literally said, Elise, you are not ready for a relationship, babe. You're not ready. Period. But if y'all want things to work, y'all have to talk it out. Y'all need to talk it out without all of us here. Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all shouldn't have brought this to us. Because now we think the worst of you, Elise. Like, come on now. Spitting bars, spitting the truth. And so, at that point, the therapy group chat kind of gets quiet. Elise leaves. They start calling her, like, crazy and psychotic. Like, Andy and Cindy start just talking the most aggressive fucking shit about Elise. And I was just sitting there like, because I didn't want to fucking participate. No, none of us really wanted to participate in that. And so I made the mistake of reading into it wrong. Because, autism. This is not an excuse on my part at all. I read that wrong. Okay. Apparently they were joking. But I didn't read it that way. So I go and tell Elise, hey girl, they're talking shit about you in the chat. Like, like a friend would. And I tell her they're calling you crazy. They doing all this shit to you. Like, I'm just coming to you as a friend. And so they found out that I went to Elise. So this is like a few days later. Andy calls me, like, phone call. And he is just hurling the most vile shit at me. And I'm just sitting there like, what do I do? What the fuck do I do? Because at this point, I'm done with Andy. I want nothing to do with Andy. So I give the phone to Drogonous. Obviously. And then I come in. Now it's like, what the fuck is up, bitch? Pick on someone your own size, bitch. And so he starts, why did you tell her that? And I said, well, y'all were doing it. Y'all were talking shit about her. Joke or fucking not, bitch. You don't do that. You don't fucking do that while your friend is away. So January fucking told her that. And now he's all like, oh, stop using the personalities. Oh my God, stop doing that. And now I'm like, using the personalities, how, bitch? Using the personalities, how, bitch? And he's all like, oh my God, you're such a liar. You just said this. Oh, and now you're getting quiet. Because when we're processing things, we get quiet. Like when we're processing certain things, certain emotions, when we're regulating our emotions, we get quiet. And he perceived that as us lying and stuff. So basically after that, it was more of a we need to protect ourselves situation, right? So now we're all in defense mode. And so basically my anxiety is spiking real bad. I don't know what to do. I'm breathing and I'm breathing and I'm breathing and it's just not working. And I don't know what to do. JP is calming me down now because I've been told that I have a very soothing voice. So I'm like, hey, Jan, what are we going to do? Like, I'm literally distracting January from the situation. And so Drogo is going the fuck off on dude. Drogo is... And I'm like, wow. I'm in awe. Because I'm like, that's my big brother. Oh, that's my big bro. And he'd do the same for me. And I know he would. In a heartbeat. You know it, bitch. So now I'm like kind of pissed at Andy. Because what the fuck are you doing, dude? So after that, we all... Once again, I hung up on him. Boop, boop. Because we're not doing that. you know, this becomes a trend now. Me hanging up on Andy becomes a trend. So now I have to go calm January down. And now I'm like, January, you're none of those things. It is okay. You're fine. You are not under attack. And then I calm down. And at that point, we were on the precipice of a new altar. Yeah. The system got bigger that night. So now, Andy and gang, the whole group chat a day later, pause. Out of the blue, because we usually like, oh, hey, y'all want to get on a FaceTime call, da-da-da-da. So the fact that I didn't know about it means the motherfuckers had a fucking separate group chat without us in it, bitch. On some toxic shit. Precisely. And so I joined this call. Everyone is there. Andy, Silas, Elise, Cindy, all of them are there. And I'm just floored because it, like, my heart drops because it feels like I'm in trouble. It feels like I'm in trouble. Like, with my parents. You know how it is when you do something wrong and you know you did, and your parents come in with the belt, and then your heart drops. That's what it was for me. Like, I felt like I was in trouble. So now I am on the defense. Anxiety respikes all over again a day later. The same anxiety from the day before is back. Drogonous and JP are on it. They get in their places and they're like, okay, we got this shit. And so basically, nothing could have prepared us for what we experienced in that call. I'm not going to go too heavy into details because I don't like putting people's personal information and mental health out there. But basically, Elise leads the call. Like the bitch that she is. She leads the call. And basically says, I don't like that you said that, January. I don't really... And she cues the tears every time. And she's like, what you said made me do something very bad. And basically, she sat there and weaponized her mental health against me. Her A-Lake mental health against me. And it broke my fucking heart into pieces because I cannot believe I did that to my best friend. To someone I considered a good friend of mine. Because I'm a good person. Period. At that point, that is what solidified my character to me. Because I know I didn't do that. I'm fully fucking aware I didn't do that. So now, I gotta come in. And you know what happened when I come in? I say, Elise, you are in control of your body. You and you only. You are in control of the things you do to yourself. For you to say that is pretty fucking shitty. I dismiss her. We're done. Andy, what the fuck were you trying to do with this call? Because I'm used to narcissists. bitch, you don't do that shit with me. It's not gonna work. So Andy now gets in a fucking yelling match. I'm just sitting there. All three of us are just sitting there. Me, JP, and January are just fucking sitting there. And we're like... And I'm just like, but you didn't answer my question. What the fuck was this call for? Ignores my question. I said, Cindy, Silas, y'all really gonna sit here and do fucking nothing? So, at that point, I come up with my own little plan. Match the energy. So, a day later, I come up with my plan. I tell Jan, I tell JP what I'm going to do. Old school Drogo was a menace. Old school Drogo was a terrible fucking person. And he knew that. And he used that to his advantage. I'm not proud of what I've done, but I'm proud of this one. So basically, I said, okay, that's what we're gonna fucking do. All right. I call Elise, Cindy, Silas a day later. I'm like, I don't like what Andy's done to me. I'm very angry. I want to get revenge. Oh! Fully knowing they're gonna all fall for it. Because those are the types of bitches that they are. I'm telling them my plan, in quotes. And they're like egging me on, like I knew they would. They're being messy bitches, basically. And you can't out-messy Drogonous Katsugi. I'm a messy bitch. I'm a messy ass bitch. I don't like to be, but when I have to be, I am. So here's what the fuck I do. Now, January, JP, and I have come together. I am literally fucking... Alright, y'all. I'm talking like this manipulative ass, mastermind ass bitch. And I'm acting. He really does deserve an Oscar for this. No, dead ass. Drogo deserves an Oscar for this shit. The fact that they fucking believed everything he was doing and didn't call it at all. They actually thought he was doing this shit. Back to the... So basically, oh my god, we're gonna do this, da-da-da-da. We have a group chat and everything, bitch. They are in this shit. Group chat, everything. I said, okay. Few days later, we're carrying out the plan. In quotes. Oh, fuck. So now we're carrying out the plan. We call Andy. We invite Andy into the chat with everyone else. John is there too. Why John is here? I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. He gets to see this shit happen too. So I carry out my plan. My actual plan. So I'm talking the most shit. Elise is talking shit. And we're all like da-da-da-da-da, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, blah-blah-blah-blah. So now I'm carrying out my actual plan. I get on a separate call with Silas and Cindy. Right? And I'm talking buku fucking shit about Elise. Because I don't like the bitch. This part was real. I don't like that bitch. To this day, I don't like that bitch. That bitch can rot in the lowliest of dumpster fires. That is how much I hate her. So, basically, I get on my shit, and I said, da-da-da-da-da, I'm gonna do this, and da-da-da-da-da. Now I'm weaponizing her mental health against her, in the same way she did January. And she gets wind of this. And guess who gets an email the next day talking about come down to the office? Guess what this bitch did? She fucking recorded and took screenshots of everything. Like I fucking knew she would. And she sent them all to the dean of our school to try to make Jan look bad, look like a basket case. And I said, bitch, you failed. That was a test, and bitch, you failed. So now I get to make your life hell. Woohoo! Fun. So basically, I walk into that bitch. I'm cosplaying January. I'm like, okay, da 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 da, bibbidi bobbidi boo, blah 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 blah. They buy it. They believe it. An Oscar. When I tell you an Oscar, I mean an Oscar. Stop. Oh, thank you, bitch. So basically, now they're like, well, you threatened her and you did this to her and blah, 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 blah. All outside of school over text, by the way. None of this happened in the school. So why the fuck are you involved? I digress. Bibbidi boppity boo, days pass, a few weeks pass, we don't hear anything of it, we go to school like normal, January is losing all their friends, bibbidi boppity boo, love to hear it. Then that one fateful day comes, where January is called into a room with Elise. After doing nothing to her. I feel unsafe and I feel threatened by them. Yeah. And I was like, okay, bitch, we can play that game. So I was like, okay. Because my original plan, like my plan the whole time was to push these bitches so far fucking away from January in the system that they didn't even want to talk to us. That was my plan. Because bitches like this, you can't just drop, you know? People like this, you can't just get rid of in a mature way. You actually have to do some shit for them to drop you. So that was my plan. My plan was to get them to drop Jan. Which I did. And so they put out this kind of restraining order for the both of us. We cannot be in the same room as each other. Because they know me. It's on site with that bitch. Because now you made me look like a damn basket case. But I digress. It's really on site now. And they knew it. They knew it. So now I'm like, okay. And we'll give it to Jan. Yes. I was like, all right, I guess. Because now I'm done with her. I don't want any of them in my life anymore. Except Silas. But I don't trust him very much after this. Like, me and Silas, our friendship began to waver after that. Here comes senior year. Water break. Here comes senior year. And they enact this restraining order on us. And a gag order. Oh, I didn't even talk about the gag order. A gag order. We cannot talk about the situation with anyone. Except the counselors, of course. So, I'm going about my day. My first day of school. I'm sad as shit, mind you. I am sad. Like, I don't have anyone. I don't have anyone. I'm alone, truly. And they're laughing and keeping up with the times like nothing had happened. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just destined to be lonely. That's fine. I start accepting my fate. And then these lovely humans show up in my life. If you follow us on Instagram, you know who they are. Love them down. If they're listening to this, love you down. You saved my life, truly. Thank you. But sidebar over. Basically, I just deteriorated after that. I was like, I can't do anything because it's just like, I was betrayed. These people that I've known for so long, I have done everything with these people, and they did that to me. It had to be done. It had to be done. And I was just like, I felt bad for January, but that was a new start for us as a system. We got into like the arms of people who accepted us for entirely who we were. Like, they actually like cared for us. They still care for us, even though we don't talk anymore that often. They still care for us. And so I just said, okay. And that is the origin of the Katsugi Brothers. That's us. But I wanted to make this just to talk about and get this off my chest. I've been holding this in for so long. These traumas inspire me to... These traumas motivate me, period, as they should. Yeah, the motivation is crazy. These traumas motivated me to make things. And so I was just like, okay. And I graduated. We're not even going to talk about the dead naming, the invalidation of identity, the one dean who literally, when I talked about my DAD, said, I don't believe that, I'm going to keep calling you this. We're not going to talk about that. That's for another episode. Maybe down the line. Period. But, yeah. That's our story. That's who we are as people. And that'll let you know that I will cut a bitch if I need to. Rogue. Okay, girl. I'm so fucking serious. Deadpan face and all. I know y'all can't see it, but it's there. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're gonna end this episode. This was very lovely. I enjoyed doing this a lot. And it felt liberating. It was liberating as fuck to listen and to be a part of telling the story. And to be a part of telling the shit correctly. Because a lot of people think they know us, and they think they know our story because they were in our lives in that era when it happened, but they don't. I can't wait to get canceled later when someone from our old high school says, oh, the Katsugi Brothers are bullies. Okay, Drogo. We're not gonna speak that into existence. I'm going to close us out now. Yes. Okay, wonderful. As host for this week, for this episode, I love everyone who listened. I love everyone who tuned in, and I love everyone who made it to this point. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart, dearly. And for everyone who is in our lives right now, in real life, thank you again for being the best support system you can be for us. We greatly appreciate it. Greatly. Greatly. Yeah. And with that being said, Drogonous, you want to end the show? Yes, I do, bitch. I love y'all. Stay freaky and have great vagina. Mwah. Bye-bye. Goodness, bye. Peace.
Back up.